Hey everybody, Charlie and I are 2 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last episode, we debunked the witness's statement and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that there must have been a third party present, a gentlewoman, if you will, at the murder. We also called out Inspector Hosonaga, who was masquerading as a waiter, as basically pressuring the witnesses to give false testimonies. So let's figure out what Inspector Hosonaga, who just busted into the courtroom, let's figure out what he has to say. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. Flashback time. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It is my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the 2 witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I'm led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? It's coughing again. Such dramatic glasses pushing up motion. Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. Bang. Is this flashback? As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. Just grabbing some water, sorry. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the phantom woman in this case. But it's not right. So much ... dots. Okay, is anybody going to talk? One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? UMA University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical facility's research laboratory, is a young English woman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss... This is supposed to be a regular name that I could pronounce. Giselle? Giselle... Or Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of UMA University's medical facility. What is happening here? You're losing your job, that's what's happening here. I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Dude, his outfit is awesome. Very well. My thoughts on this matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false. It would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. Objection! But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send a telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings in my courtroom. Hey, you tell him, Judge. Ugh. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem? Oh my, I think he's gonna die. Nothing will get in my way, except for your bloody cough. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett, I think I'm saying that right, Giselle, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency! Good, then we'll have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. All right, so I guess she'll come in. She had to have done it, right? To be continued. Well, yeah, we want to save. We're going to save new game. Okay, and go back. 22nd November, 11:38 a.m. We've been in there 2.5 hours. Defendant's Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Ryu. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I go through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again if I get through this. Ha 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 ha! I'm not going to do that again. Anyways, looks like we exposed your phantom lady at last. The gentlewoman. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There's a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, bang. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me looking as white as a sheet. And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by that detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside the dining area, in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. This must be that professor, yeah, and his lady friend. Professor Mikotoba! Well, seems I was right. Yes, you were there, Burt Reynolds. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so, which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that might have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being canceled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis. If I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. There's no way you can be like this, like lawful good, right? What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma. Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? He's awful happy if he did know the victim. Yes, I did. And you're probably aware Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck. What is this furry thing you're wearing? I'm sure that's some type of traditional garb, and I'm trying to mean no disrespect by asking, but what is that? Thank you. Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. Is he talking to her? There's something I think we may need. Surprise evidence, right? Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. That was 30 minutes? It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. With your sword. Before these old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really? Aw, it's a tender friend moment. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. I feel like we're in a pretty darn heavy case to start with. All right then, I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from the Yume cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. No anime laugh? No anime laugh. All right, it is 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. Judicature? Judicature? The judge hereby resumes the trial of Ryu Naruhodo. Prosecutor Alchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under a rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize, that's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down on our nation's founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You are true. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, and a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that. I'm no expert, just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryu, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats. Thank you, Council. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency. Okay, you're not like dramatic or anything with a whole ass swan on your head. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan and from such a distant land. Tea. Somebody bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Come on, Judge. Is that true? No idea. So, ahem. Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I've been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnaval, but my true... Yes, we know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Oh, come on, why are you all kowtowing to her? Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observations are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryu, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. No, she was dressed differently. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Why do you have a mask on? What is this? What? Are you speaking in doctor writing? I know cursive, but it's cursive that you can't even read. It's like writing prescriptions with her speak. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? Scribble. He's gonna have to translate. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in UMA University's medical facility. So are we speaking Japanese and then she's speaking English? But because this is a game that's localized for, you know, America, we're seeing the Japanese written in English, Romanized letters, and translated. But since she's speaking a language they can't understand, they have to write it in a way that we can't understand it. Is that what's going on here? Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. Yep, she's speaking English. The Queen's English. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. I don't think people have ever said that about the English language. I don't think it's one of the more beautiful languages of the world. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. It seems like you wouldn't have someone who is also on the witness stand be the translator. Seems like you would have a neutral party be the translator. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryu. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Just why call her beautiful? Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. The 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. Court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was very frightening. It was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. So she just said we did it. I'm sorry, I wouldn't take the words of somebody wearing a swan on their head. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Yeah, it's her. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Witness testimony. A frightening and sorrowful sight. This is going to be painful. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. That's very weak. This is a condemning testimony indeed. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Objection! Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. Ugh. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryu. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. Was she now? As you can see, there's nowhere about her person where she can conceal a firearm. Not even the giant swan hat? Or the big poof that's coming off of her buttocks here? I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Alright, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Probably don't do that. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryu. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. Ooh, look at that smirk. All right, we're going to cross-examine the opulently dressed witness next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and/or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.